Hi everyone, it's Jessica. Today is April 23rd, 2015, and this is VEDA Day 23. Today I'm going to give you a little tour of my bookshelf. This is just a small sampling of the over 1,000 books that I have in my classroom library. I am definitely a bibliophile. For those of you who don't know, that's someone who is an eager collector and coveter of books. These are some of the books that I kept on the bookshelf next to my desk in my classroom. Most of them are picture books. I do have some chapter books, and these were mostly the books that I used for Read Aloud and for that were integrated into the units that we were learning, as well as just really great mentor texts. I used a lot of mentor texts. For those of you who are familiar with reading and writing workshop, that's definitely an integral part of teaching reading and writing in that way. And I think that you can get a lot of really good not just morals and messages and great conversations, but you can really pull apart a lot of great reading and writing ideas and help kids to think about themselves as writers by modeling that with picture books. So you can see I have Goodnight Moon in Spanish. I kept as many books as I could in multiple languages, and I especially tried to find a lot of books that were in Spanish and that honored the languages and heritages and cultures of the kids who were in my class. And Spanish was definitely the most common native language for my second language learners. I also have a book that's from Italy. When I was in Italy, I went to many bookstores, but I came across this fantastic Italian version of Maurice Sendak, so this is definitely something that I enjoyed sharing with the kids as well. I'm not going to go through all of my books here, but maybe just a couple that you may not be familiar with. Tara and Bella, really great story about, and it's based on a true story actually, about an elephant and a dog, and they become fast friends and they take care of each other. If you're a softie, it will make you cry, but I think all the best read alouds do. Every year during September 11th, I would read this really fantastic book. It's actually a Caldecott winner, The Man Who Walked Between the Towers. If you've not picked up this book, it is absolutely phenomenal, and it's just so fantastic. You know, it has some really great pictures from the Twin Towers in New York City, and it's just such a great conversation with the kids, especially because I was teaching third and fourth and fifth graders, and these are kids who weren't able to remember 9/11, and that was not something, some of them weren't even born yet. So I always like to use this book as kind of a way to remember on September 11th the events that have happened and to help my kids understand the history of that event. There's also a really great little blurb in there about September 11th and about the Twin Towers and the history of how they were built and all of that. So really love that book. Kate DiCamillo, I keep as many books from Kate DiCamillo as I can. Great Joy has some really beautiful illustrations as well. And then I also keep The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. This is a book that I read every year that I taught, actually. I read this book as a read aloud, and it's a fantastic story if you haven't picked it up. Really good discussions about character traits and, just kind of talking about how we navigate the world and how we sort of find our voice and figure out who we are while honoring the people around us, or bunnies in the case of Edward Tulane, who's actually a China rabbit. Anything by Alan Say is fantastic. Grandfather's Journey in third grade. Alan Say in Denver Public Schools is the author study for the year, and so I've read many of these Alan Say books, but Grandfather's Journey is one of my favorites. Let's see, what else do we have here? I keep a lot of silly books. So I have all of the Skippy John Jones books. Interrupting Chicken, if you have not picked this one up, this one is really fun. The kids will be giggling quite a bit. Of course, Girls Like Spaghetti and Eats, Shoots, and Leaves are fantastic for talking about grammar and the importance of punctuation and things like that. Another book that's really beautiful is Owl Moon. I actually, highlight of my week, I got to help a class of 4-year-olds in Denver do a Google Hangout with Jane Yolen, who is the author of Owl Moon, as well as many other fantastic books. And so that was really fun to get to expose the kids to her as an author, as well as just to be able to participate and chat with Jane Yolen. That's pretty fantastic. Another book that I highly recommend is Alex and the Amazing Lemonade Stand. I think I'm sensing a theme. A lot of these books make me cry, and yes, I cry every time. This one is actually a book about a little girl named Alex who got cancer, and she wanted to do something to help other kids. She started a foundation along with her parents and started selling lemonade. And this is all about her story of how she sold lemonade and raised money to help other kids who had cancer, and her family still continues the business. This is a picture of Alex and her lemonade stand, and there's a really beautiful story in here the last page sort of talks about her journey specifically, and I can never read that. I always hand it to a kiddo and have them read it because that's the part that makes me cry. What else? A Sick Day for Amos McGee, fantastic book. The Quilt Maker's Journey, really beautiful illustrations, beautiful, beautiful story. Love this one, it's great. Patricia Polacco, I have a myriad of Patricia Polacco books. I absolutely adore her. She is an amazing author, and what a beautiful human being. Her story is fantastic. If you have not just read her books, but if you have not looked into her story, all of her books are based upon true life experiences that she has had. Some of the ones that you may be more familiar with are things like Junkyard Wonders. So this is a story about how she kind of navigated moving schools and finding out that she had dyslexia, and just having a group of friends who really supported her and who were different, but they all kind of came together to help one another. And I actually had the great pleasure of meeting Patricia Polacco a couple years ago when she was at a bookstore here in Denver, and hearing her story and the way that she was she's so encouraging to kids and telling them, like, persevere and don't let anything get you down. You can do anything you want. I didn't know how to read or write, and now I'm an author and I've written all these books. It's just a phenomenal story. And there was actually a child in the audience who has dyslexia and was saying, I really struggle with this and people make fun of me, and was kind of sharing her story. And just the way that Patricia Polacco immediately just shared her experience and connected with this child, and the advice that she gave her, talk about tears. It was amazing. So Patricia Polacco is also on Facebook, and she has a really fun Facebook page, so you can also follow her there, which is pretty fun. What else? The Hawaii Snowman is really great. Again, beautiful illustrations. I really love picture books that have great illustrations. Anything by Jan Brett is just super fun. Gingerbread Friends is a fun one for December. I also did a whole unit on holidays around the world, and I did that every year with my class, so we would read books about all kinds of different holidays and cultures and traditions. There's some great stories about Hanukkah, and this one also has some good background information about the holiday. The Runaway Walk, which is about Chinese New Year and some of the traditions behind that. The Man in the Moon, again, beautiful illustrations. William Joyce. This is a fantastic book, and it really is. Some of these are great for helping kids understand that the illustrations are just as important as the writing in your book, and that you can kind of enhance the story through those things. And let's see, I'll pick one more. Okay, these are two of my favorites as well, and I know I say that about every book. Zen Shorts and Zen Ties. These are fantastic books, really great short stories in these, and they are kind of woven together, and they talk about, just how to, again, navigate the world and different traditions and different ways of sort of being at peace with yourself and finding the way to support one another and the importance of friends and all that kind of stuff. What else do I have on my shelf? Down here, we have a few picture books and things. So this is my very dear copy of Peter Pan. I read the original Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie, so not an abridged version, but the original as it was written. And so there's a lot of really interesting language in here because it was written, so long ago compared to how the kids are used to speaking now. So we always have some really fun conversations. There's also a few swear words. Tink calls Wendy some sassy language and calls Peter a silly ass. And so the kids really enjoy those conversations as well, talking about, words and how they change over time. Hunger Games, Lois Lowry is one of my favorite authors. If you have not read The Giver, I absolutely recommend read The Giver, read Number the Stars. This is one of the books that goes along with The Giver. Really, really amazing book. And then the kids really love reading any of these Time Warp Trio books. If you aren't familiar with these are really fun, short, quick stories, but they're all based at different time periods in history, and so it's really fun to have those conversations with the kids about how things have changed over time. And then the last one that I'll share with you is just The Little Prince. This is just one of my all-time favorite books. So again, I know I've said this about every book, but if you have not read The Little Prince, I highly recommend it. I could sit here all night and talk to you about all of my favorite books because they're all my favorites. And like I said, I have over 1,000 in my library, and I probably could pick up about 800 of them and say, oh, I love this book, and tell you a backstory about it. But this is one of the things that I miss most about teaching, I think, is doing read aloud and just sharing books with kids and having them read, doing reading conferences and things like that. And just finding out what they love and what they're passionate about, and then being able to find a book that really ignites a fire, not just for reading, but for the content and for, history and adventure and fantasy and all of the things that books can bring out. So there's a little tour of my bookshelf. I hope that you enjoyed getting to see some of my beloved books, and hopefully you'll grab a book and go curl up with it, whether it's a picture book or a chapter book or an adult read. I think I'm going to go and enjoy a little bit of reading time myself, working through some more of my binge reading of John Green and all of his books. Again, if you have not checked out any of John Green books, I highly recommend that. They're great for teenagers and up. So take a look at those, and I hope all of you have a really great night, and I'll chat with all of you tomorrow.